So the best metaphor I have to answer your question, because again, I'm aware it's $1 million question.
It is $1 million question.
The best metaphor I have for it, and this is in chapter 10 when I talk about spiritual codependency, is just learning to use our wings a little bit. It's not a what do you want once and for all.
Yes.
It's a what do you want?
Yeah.
And
what do you want to do?
In that moment, at that period of time, it was, I'd started writing this book, and it was, I want to write this book. That was the next step. Now, I think to myself, but the question, what do you want? You think about the mama bird with the little birds in the nest. We want to cling to the nest, and sometimes she's nudging them out, and they got to just fly a little bit. And what is that next tree? What is the next tree?
Bit. That's so good. That's a title.
Maybe just fly a little bit. Maybe it doesn't have to be, what do you want?
10 years from now.
What's just the next tree? What's the next tree?
Sometimes the story we tell ourselves is not really true. Sometimes the story others tell about us is not really true. Here on today's Heart Lift with Janelle, we are going to learn how to rewrite our story. So pick up your favorite pen and journal, grab a cup of something delicious, and start your heart-lifting journey towards living a meaningful life.
Hello and welcome to today's Heart Lift with Janelle. I am thrilled to bring you part 2 of my conversation with Dr. Alison Cook, talking about her new book coming out in September, The Best of You: Break Free from Painful Patterns, Mend Your Past, and Discover Your True Self in God. As a counselor, Dr. Cook has met with thousands of women who feel stuck. Oh, I know that, in an endless cycle of people-pleasing and permission-seeking. Even after learning to say no more frequently or after setting better boundaries, many of us still feel lost and unsure of how to create the wholehearted life and authentic relationships. Oh my goodness, this is a book filled with transformative strategies to help us discover what we really want and need so that we can be the best of our God-created selves. In this part 2 conversation, Alice and I open up that question that unhinges me. What do you want? If you remember that part 1, she shared about being in the hayfield after her stroke. She had taken a 2-month sabbatical from her work as a therapist and her work of writing. And she had really lost a lot. And in that hayfield, when she was talking to God, she heard that whisper from God, what do you want? I mean, I've heard that, and I don't know any other word. I'm borrowing it from my daughter, Brooke. It just unhinges me. And it unhinges me due to something Alison has coined, the cocktail of codependency. And she writes about it early on in the book and dives into it. And she writes, after decades of integrating faith and psychology, I believe there are 3 realities of life that lead to women feeling stuck and disempowered: childhood wounds, confusing church messages, and cultural conditioning. These are 3 very important topics, and I'm so happy to bring Alison's voice to our table today to help us break through them so that we can actually be all that God has created us to be. So you are probably going to want to grab her book. It's for pre-order right now on Amazon. Please pre-order it, Heartlifters. It will help Alison's book gain so much more influence, and it will be such a blessing to her. And I would love to have our community support her that way. Hop over to her website and you will get all the details of her pre-order bonuses, her launch team, and all of the extended resources she's offering with pre-order. That is dralisoncook.com. DrAlisoncook. After listening today, hop over, take a look around, and pre-order her book. Okay, without further ado, we must get into this conversation. Grab a pen, a journal, a cup of something delicious. Here we go.
Shaming me the most are the ones that need God's love, not, there's so much there.
It makes me really wonder this question of when you're in that hayfield and the movement goes from you asking God what he wants and God mirroring it back to you, as you write in the book too, like that mirror image. Mm-hmm. Do you think he wanted you to just believe in who he made you to be? Because he didn't make you to hide. He didn't make you to be invisible. He didn't make you to shrink. No. He didn't do that. No. I'm just curious because that question, what do you want, unnerves me, unhinges me. I could just help. How? You've already told us, this 3 realities of life, or we have this cocktail of codependency. The armor of invisibility is underneath that cocktail of codependency. There's confusing church messages. I'm there still. And cultural conditioning. How do we answer that question without, I wrote down, how do I actually do that? I'm trying so hard, and maybe I don't need to try so hard. Maybe I just need to go find a hayfield and meander about it, or. Do you think that's what he just wants us to finally just believe in who he created us to be?
I think so. The best metaphor I have to answer your question, because again, I'm aware it's $1 million question.
It is $1 million question.
The best metaphor I have for it, and this is in chapter 10 when I talk about spiritual codependency, is just learning to use our wings a little bit. It's not a what do you want once and for all. It's a what do you want?
Yeah.
And
what do you want to do?
In that moment, at that period of time, I'd started writing this book, and it was, I want to write this book. That was the next step. Now, I think to myself, but the question, what do you want? You think about the mama bird with the little birds in the nest. We want to cling to the nest, and sometimes she's nudging them out, and they got to just fly a little bit. And what is that next tree? What is the next tree?
That's so good. That's a title.
Maybe just fly a little bit. Maybe it doesn't have to be, what do you want?
10 years from now.
What's just the next tree? What's the next tree? The next tree might be, when our kids went off to college, my husband would say, they made it. When we kind of saw that they were doing pretty well, they made it to the next tree.
Oh, I love
so
that.
Exciting, right? Because then there's going to be another tree. The next tree is, will they be able to navigate a successful relationship? Well, so what's the next tree? So, for you, if you're wrestling with that question too much, it's like, what do I just want? Maybe this month or maybe this week, would it be, I just love, to have a closer, healthy, I just love to have one really deep conversation with my husband, or I just love to have fun with a friend, or I love to feel what it's like to, be with God in a different way. What do you want? Doesn't have to be this lofty thing, but as you move toward that next thing you want, you're going to discover
more
and more and more of who you are. And you're going to discover a couple things. You're going to I thought I wanted that. And then you're like, I actually don't.
Exactly. Yes.
It doesn't have to be I launched my podcast in May.
Yes,
I got to tell you, that was one of those things where I was like, I think I want this. I don't know. And I'm just now, but I gave myself permission.
Aww.
I said, my husband said, give it a year. I said, I'll give it 3 months. I'm less patient than he is, but I don't know. I'm 4 or 5 months in and I'm like, I like it. I think
you should like it. It's good.
But I gave myself permission to go, if I don't
Yeah,
if I
that's so
don't in a
good.
year, I don't have to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it's trial and error. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves, but it is so important, especially with the trauma background, especially if we weren't taught as children, to honor that next step of what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Who do I want to spend time with this week? Who don't I want to spend time with this week?
Oh, we got to go there for just a minute. Let me find where it is in my 5 pages of notes. You actually say, you give us permission. Of course, I can't find it at the moment. You give permission to 3 questions. Where are they? Do I actually want to spend time with this person? Is this coming into mind? Heavens to Betsy.
Oh, yeah.
Do I actually want to spend time with this person? Do I actually want to spend my energy this way? Alison, it all comes back down though to that foundation of knowing who you are, knowing that true self, that essence, I call it the God-breathed self, knowing and being comfortable in your own skin. Speaking from a person who was disembodied most of her life, myself. So I danced so I could feel my skin and feel my body. When you don't, I would still be saying to myself, well, you need to spend time. That's the right thing to do. That's the good Christian girl thing to do. So there comes that Christian and cultural conditioning, right? That you're a mean person if you don't do that. So I really want in this conversation to try to get at least a nut and bolt around that, a practical step as to what is the first step. Because I think in this book, The Best of You, you're digging down into that and helping us. Any thoughts on that? That was a big, long question. Convoluted.
I think, this is why there was quite a needle to thread in this book, and there's going to need to be a lot of follow-up, like workbooks, and I've got a lot more cunning because the needle that I had to thread was there's a lot in our culture about be true to yourself, and that means and don't care about anybody else, and that is not what I'm saying.
That's not. I'm glad you clarified. Yep.
And so I had to thread that needle of, and that's why we put true self in God in the title. Like, it's also not, but the Christian culture, our Christian culture can push too far toward selflessness. Well, you should never think about yourself.
Correct.
Neither extreme is helpful.
Yeah, they're both extremes. Right.
They're both extremes. And so that's where I kind of drilled down on this word selfhood.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Self.
Woo. Define it. Can you do it by heart?
It's really this. I would just say the tactical question that you're asking, which is, I don't want to spend time with this person. I feel like I should.
Yes.
Right.
Should.
So then curiosity there. Why do I feel like I should? Well, because she's my dying mother.
Oh yes.
Okay, well, then maybe
that hit home.
Maybe. Sorry. But okay. I probably ought. There is some healthy shoulds, but how much time? What is the quality of that time? What is the quantity of that time? I have some control. How much bandwidth do I have? How much energy do I have? What other people, such as children, spouses, friends, need of me? I am no use to the world if I am exhausted. So it just becomes a more robust question than should or no. It's, something in my body, and I go through the different ways, listening to learn to listen to the voice of your life. Something in my body. And one way I had to learn, I would start to have anxiety attacks. I was like, if I feel terrible, but I would be sitting over coffee with someone when I was at the height. This was in my 30s. This was years ago when I was at the height of I only lived for other people and self is bad.
Yes.
I would be at coffee with someone and start to have an anxiety attack and have to leave.
Oh, I understand. Too well. Wow.
Because I was not listening to the cues of my body.
Right.
Everything I did was, how do I serve you? And my body was like, you got nothing. You got nothing to give this person. They're not doing it, and they're not doing anything wrong. You're showing up for something you don't have energy for.
Yes.
Man, was that so listening to the cues of your body with the shoulding is, this is somebody I want to, first of all, I want to say I want to say 90%, but I'm going to say, to be generous, 75% of the time, the shoulding is, really? Does this person really need me? Let's, 25% of the time, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, I still get some say in how, when, on what terms.
That's it. That's it
right
there. That's it, though. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No. I get excited about this stuff too. We're you and I are like two.
I know.
Two peas in a pod here.
I think that's what it is. It's that, and you write so brilliantly about it. Finding your voice. I've written about it. Finding your voice. And in this community, we equate voice with value, worth, and dignity. So they're inextricable. When I know that I know how much I can handle my boundaries, and you write about boundaries, this book is such a journey as well. And so if you don't know yourself, then you can't think for yourself. You've shared that so brilliantly in the cocktail of codependency, that you don't know where you end and the other person begins. You just have no sense of personal agency, no autonomy, and there's reasons you're that way, more than likely.
That's right. Yeah.
But for the sake of this podcast and this time, I guess I'm just I feel like it's so urgent that particularly women of faith understand they have agency, they have a voice, they have not been called to be invisible. You say it clearly. You're not called to be a doormat. We are called. You say it so perfectly, not a doormat. But I don't think, I was talking to someone the other day and they were like, I don't think we have models for that yet. He was like, so who do you admire? And who? I'm like, I'm trying here, but who are doing it well and who are really, truly, authentically.
Yes.
Following the way of Jesus.
That's right. In a nuanced way, without throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yes. Yes.
I know. No, I don't hear a Christian woman not struggling with this. And ironically, men kind of take it for granted. I mean, they don't think about as much, not all men.
No.
And especially men of color, men who've been marginalized. I've spoken with many of them are like, some of that resonated with me because we're supposed to play small to get along. Right. But I think this whole thing of selfhood, what I say about selfhood is
so good.
Any relationship, including your relationship with God, requires two people, and you are one of those people.
Yes.
You have to bring yourself into any relationship that you want to be healthy, including your relationship with God.
Yes. Preach it. And speak it, teach it. I love that.
We do not do anyone any favors by sidelining, rejecting, bypassing our own selves. We are not showing up as truthful. We are not showing up as authentic. We are not showing up. And that relationship cannot thrive if we do not bring our true selves to the table. Now, again, true self is not my way or the highway. That's not
correct.
what it is. True self is simply saying, I have a preference, I have a voice, and my voice matters. I'm also happy to listen to your voice. And guess what? The more confident I am in saying, here's what I think, here's what I feel, the more free I am to tell me about what you think and feel. Oh, isn't that interesting? You think about marriage. I did a interview last week with a guy. He was great. He was like, well, what does this mean for marriage? And I was like, guys should be thrilled. I was like, because listen.
What does this mean for marriage? Wow.
If I'm coming to the table going, well, this is what I think and what I want. And he's coming to the table going, this is what I think and what I want. And you both have done your own work. You're both like, there's nothing in that is offensive. So we don't agree. I want to do this. I want to do this. I think this way. I think this way. Interesting.
Yes.
Now you get to the fun part. And this is the dialectical thinking. This is the chapter 9. Now we get to negotiate.
Oh, it's so good.
What?
Yes.
Guess what? The best material comes from when you just the fun and the play of creativity of going, okay, how are we gonna, this is because it's better. It's
Yes.
better.
Yeah.
You know, you arrive at so much better decisions, conclusions, you know, when two people go, okay, wow, it can't just be my way. It can't just be your way. We're going to have to negotiate a way forward. And all of a sudden, everybody's creativity kicks in. And that's half the fun.
It is.
You know?
It ends up being, and hopefully you can bring laughter into the situation.
And
hopefully, you know, if the wall's not too high and there isn't, you know, it hasn't been
and
good.
that's the goal. But
Yep.
if one person is coming in, it's my way or the highway, and one person is coming in, I'll just be a doormat. It's a toxic recipe. And
it is toxic. Yeah. Yep, definitely.
And so I'm not pushing for this, you know, I'm really pushing
hear me,
for this.
Hear me roar. Right. It's not like I am woman, hear me roar. No, it's I am woman. I have value, worth, and dignity. And therefore my voice matters.
And my voice matters. And guess what? If you can't respect my voice, I won't be able to be in a healthy relationship with you.
Right.
And that is again another message for women. If you can't respect, not that you have to do everything my way, but if you can't respect my voice or my limits or my no's, you know, I write about this also. I started in my 30s when I was having to change. I would have to test friendships, and
I just found it actually. I would test a new relationship. Yes, that's what I was looking for. I thought this is brilliant
because I know myself well enough. But I'm like, I'll turn myself inside out. And if I can't introduce a no early on or a preference early on, and they can't tolerate it, I can't do it. And so very early on, just be like, man, that's not going to work for me. Or I'm sorry, I can't, you know, and you find out really fast.
You can. I love that
people
you
respond.
Brought that in. You brought in 7 signs of a healthy friendship. It's page 147. Please, when you get this book, healthy friendships don't define who you are. This is so good. They remind you of who you are. Healthy friendships don't define who you are. They remind you of who you are. And you give these 7 signs for a healthy friendship. I think you could put a healthy relationship in that as well. Respect, of course. Honesty, right? True honesty with healthy assertiveness there, where you're mutually allowing a dialogue to happen, not just my way or the highway. Reliability, right? Mutuality. I love your description of that. Common interest, freedom, and then the final one, emotional safety.
Yeah.
Right? I know for me in my 7th decade here, that is the absolute, it's got to be there. I have to feel emotionally safe with someone else. It's a deal breaker if I don't. And I think that I love the fact that you put that in there. I also just wanted to quickly address, because I get this a lot, and I bet that you do too. And I'm so happy that you're addressing it. Can I get someone to change?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do our clients come sit down and go, fix him, fix her, fix my adolescent, fix this, right? And you give brilliant help here. You encourage filling out this sentence. I feel blank when blank. And I love that you brought this out, because I've actually used this quite a bit already, just from pre-reading your book. You know, I feel intimidated. I feel small. I feel belittled when you use that tone of voice. Is that what you're talking about here? Something like that?
Yeah, it's a discipline. I respect and admire that you're already implementing, because
it's so good.
We talk about this as therapy 101, and this I feel principle is, you know, it's a tested principle, but it's hard to do, because what we want to do is you're being a jerk. You're criticizing me. You're being insensitive, right?
Without a doubt.
Or you're being needy, whatever it is. That's how it comes to us.
It does.
And that is not going to work usually in most relationships.
Rarely does it work.
Sometimes, you know, when you're in a playful mood, you know, it works. But when you're really heated, and then you got to do the work to go, what is it that I need? What is happening inside of me? And again, going back to yourself.
Yes.
Because when we're conditioned toward only looking to help other people, we're also conditioned for other people to read our minds, for other people to it's looking towards yourself and going, what do I actually need in this situation? Why is this bothering me? And what do I actually need?
Yeah.
It brings you back to that internal locus of control, that agency.
Oh, there it is. There's something
Right?
else. There's more to talk about. You talk so well about that, Alison. I'm repeating myself, Heartlifter. Sorry.
No, you're fine. And I say very clearly, I'm not promising you'll get it just because you say, here's what I need. It's not that. But what you do get when you know that, let's say they can't. They're like, I don't care. This is what I'm going to do anyway. You're like, okay, now I know. Now I know I have choice. How am I going to get that need met another way?
Yeah.
So it's
beautiful.
just, again, about the agency it like,
really is.
I do have power here. I can't get them to change. But I can own what I actually want and need. I can determine the limits of this relationship.
Yes.
Even in marriage, even in marriage, our spouse isn't going to meet all our needs. It's like, okay, they can't do that thing. So what's a healthy way? Because it is something I crave.
Yeah.
So how can, and I think about that all the time in marriage. I'm like, there's so many marriages. It's like, that's not a deal breaker. Some things are.
Yes.
A lot
Some
isn't.
things are. Correct. Yep. But it is about finding your personal agency, which leads us to knowing who we really are, who Christ breathed into us, God breathed into us to be, and then understand that have that value, worth, and dignity. Your closing words, I really don't want to close, but I respect you, your time. As you envision the best of you, here's the irony. And this is what really caused me to take great pause. And I will be spending some time meditating on this for sure. She's already inside you, waiting for you to release her into the world. The best of you has been inside you all along. You may have lost sight of her, but she's been with you. I wonder, did you write that to yourself first?
Oh, yeah, that's,
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, there she is. She's speaking to little 6th grade Alison, that's the irony. It's just waiting for us to release her into the world. What does that look like? How do we do that? Well, we do it by being here, being present, listening, growing. I'm so proud of my Heartlifters. It's such a community that is committed to personal and spiritual growth, mental health. And we just thank you so much for coming again, Alison, and speaking from your heart and sharing your wisdom. I'm so thankful that you're here. And
thank you.
and that you embraced that life-threatening valley with courage, even when it didn't feel like courage. I'm grateful you spent time in that hayfield.
Thank you.
And I'm grateful,
Thank you, Janelle,
that you're not hiding anymore.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please don't hide. We need you. Take care of yourself, of course.
Yeah. Right.
But you are our Queen of Hearts, and we need you. We need you. We need your voice, and we need your wisdom, and we just need your presence. So many, many, many blessings on your life and your work. Thank you.
You embody what it means to be a Heartlifter. I appreciate so much these conversations with you. The feelings are mutual, and I'm so grateful for the good work you are putting into your community, into your work. It's so sincere, and you've lifted my heart today.
I hope so.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Next time. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening today. It was great having you here. For even more great content and resources, please join the Stronger Everyday online community at JanelleRaridan.com. Always remember, you, my friend, have value, worth, and dignity.